Okay, well, happy Thursday afternoon to you all. It is Thursday, June 17th today, and I am officially on my 2-week countdown for the Scooter Cannonball Run. So today is going to be my last work day, if I have anything to say about it, and the next 14 days are going to be prep for the trip only. No more work, hopefully. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be some emergencies that pop up here and there, but anyway, I'm going to grab some gas, and then I've got a couple of work stops to make a few more people happy. I ain't waiting on that guy. We're pick up some fuel. I'm running low. I haven't been out on the Rebel in about a week and a half. Weather here has been crap. It still is kind of crap. It looks sunny today, but oh boy is it hot. It is 91 degrees right now, official temperature. The gauge on here says 87. Our heat index right now is 101 officially in Houston at 11:30 in the morning, whatever this is, 11 o'clock. And we're headed to a high today of right at 100 degrees, like 98, 99, with a heat index projected around 110. Youch. So it's steamy. I'm wearing my older jacket because this fly racing jacket just flows a ton of air. It is one of the cheaper ones that I've got in my wardrobe, but I tell you, this thing has served me so well over the last 5-6 years. It's a great jacket. I upgraded the armor in it and put CE level 2 armor in the elbows, shoulders, and back, because the stuff that comes with it was probably barely CE1 rated. But never been down in all my years of riding. Knock on wood. Knock, knock, knock. So hopefully that won't occur now that I've said something. Okay, so Rebel updates. What else is new? Still haven't gotten the saddlebag mounts yet from Honda. I plan to call them today over here at my local dealer, see if maybe they have gotten any recent deliveries that would help my situation. But pretty much all of the Rebel projects are on hold and going to have to wait until I return from my Scooter Cannonball trip at the end of July. What else? Oh yeah, what else? There's a big development. Coffman Racing Products, Coffman Exhausts, has reached out to me. They liked the video that I did for the exhaust on this, and they say that due to my video, they've been getting a lot of inquiries about having a can or an exhaust made specifically for this bike to get the bend or the angle there proper. And they said they've been getting a lot of people buying the one for the Rebel 500 and then returning it because the angle isn't quite right. So they're very nice people, and they seem to be eager to resolve this issue for all of us Rebel 1100 owners. So they're sending me a prototype can today. It should arrive today, tomorrow, I'm guessing, and I'm going to pull this one off of there, put their prototype on, and it's essentially the same exhaust with a different bend to it. So I'm not sure if it's bent upward and more inward, or if it's rotated up the whole thing, but at any rate, the tip will be facing the correct direction after the repositioning, and the Coffman logo will also be in the correct spot. So I'll put that video out before I leave town on my Scooter Cannonball Run, because I won't be doing any test videos or any of that stuff for quite a time. Car wash? No, I don't think so. I've done that before on a bike. It was interesting. Come on. Come on. All right. Don't want to stand here in this heat any longer than I need to. And I've been running super unleaded in this thing for pretty much all of its life thus far. Whenever I have a chance to get out on a road trip, I'll do a mileage comparison or efficiency comparison on premium, 91 or 93 versus mid-grade. I wouldn't run base level unleaded in this 87 octane because it's a big enough motor and it's got high enough compression that I think it probably will benefit from at least mid-grade. So I'll compare those two as far as fuel efficiencies and run a few tanks at steady speeds and see how it turns out. And report back my findings on Fuelie for the community at large. Come on, keep going, keep going. Oh, getting there, getting close. What more can I put in there? Oh, we can get up to 50 cents. You guys probably can't see that screen. Oh, 750. And I am, whoa, just up on the neck there. Don't drip on me. Oh, don't need any eau de petrol for my cologne. Okay, gimme, I gotta go. Oh, geez, it's hot. Even standing here in the shade, it's just so humid. I think the humidity is like 65%, 68% right now. And, it is a sauna. Sweltery. Mileage recording. You guys know me. If I can find it. This menu always annoys me. Hey, I got it on the first try. Getting to the consumption, it's some weird hopscotch on the buttons there to get it to do exactly what you want. It's a little annoying. Hey, I'm getting dinged. Somebody likes me. I haven't put my charging head on here yet. I have the wireless charging head. I've already got the vibration damper. I'm going to redo the mount, and I'll probably put it up here to where it's right next to that. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with my little beeline there, because the phone would be kind of overlapping it. We'll figure it out. Maybe I could put the beeline over here if I can get the right mount. Okay, on the road. Get some air conditioning going. Yikes. It is hot. Hot. Okay, off we go. So what else? My trailer hitch for the Super Cub to pull the SherpaX trailer is reportedly in the mail. Joel with KipMoto spent a lot of time trying to engineer a mount to fit the Cub and Trail Cub, and he's confident that he thinks he's got it solved. It took him a while to work on it. I really appreciate all of his efforts. So, Joel, if you're watching, thank you, sir. We're hoping that it arrives in time to get it hooked up, test it, and do all that before we hit the road. I'm never one that likes to make major mechanical changes to something right before I hit the road, contrary to my popular or previous video on the PCXs when I changed out the clutch and transmission stuff right before we left. Probably wasn't the smartest thing, but I knew what I was doing. Okay, anyway, so I don't want to get the trailer out behind the Super Cub untested, because once we leave, if it's not working out, there's no way to park that thing back in the garage. We're leaving, we're gone. It's a one-way outbound trip for a month, so we've got to test those things out as soon as they hit the porch here at my house. The other complication is Adrian is leaving town on Monday for Florida, I believe, and he's going to be gone for a week. So basically he's getting back right before we need to head out on the trip. So if the trailer doesn't show up before he leaves, and that means it's got to show up this weekend, then we won't have time to work on his bike until he returns, unless he wants to drop it off at my house and I can work on it for him, whatever. I'll bring that up to him, see if he's interested in that little idea. But the mounting should be pretty straightforward. He's already changed his exhaust, so we just swap in the rear axle plates or whatever the mounting solution is for the trailer yoke, and then we've got the electrical. So the mechanical bits of it should be very simple, very straightforward. The electrical is going to be a bit of a challenge because all of the wiring on the back of the Cub is concealed inside of the rear fender cap. It's a two-piece fender. You've got a metal inner fender, which is weight bearing or load bearing, and then you've got the outer plastic cover, the blue or whatever color the bike is, and the wiring runs between those two. So there's not really a way to get to the wiring harness that I can see, at least from the factory diagrams. in order to tap the rear brake, tail light, and turn signals. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. It's going to involve some disassembly. I have to pull the body cover, front cover, or not front cover, but yeah, they call it the front cover. It's like that mid cover. So you got to pull that. You got to pull the side panels, and then you can get to kind of the rear sub harness that's hiding behind the grab handle on the seat. So I don't know. I'll tear mine apart. Woo! I'll tear mine apart first and see how that plays. Yep. Once we kind of have an answer there, then I'll know what else to do on his bike. Maybe it'll be a little faster as far as the discovery time goes. So when I build my wiring harness, I'll build one for him as well. I've got all the proper connectors and little pin inserts and all that kind of crazy stuff to build the harnesses. So it'll be what's known as an intercept harness, or a T harness. So it passes straight through to the bike, or the original tail light, but taps off the feeds to go independently to other stuff. Off of that line, or that harness, the 12 volt positive that feeds the brake light whenever ignition, or I'm sorry, the tail light when ignition is on, so that's a constant on with the ignition. That's also going to feed a voltage regulator that I'm going to mount back in the container on the trailer, a 3 amp 12 volt regulator. So at most I'll be pulling 3 amps off of that line, and I'm going to use it for battery charging and auxiliary lighting and stuff like that on the trailer. I'll have LED lights that I'm going to mount on the trailer or on the Rubbermaid container itself, and I don't want too much draw, blowing a fuse or whatever, so I'm going to feed that with a little 3 amp regulator, and then off the regulator I'll have my other loads. So anyway, beyond that, it's just wiring up the trailer itself and hooking it up and setting that little harness where it can be connected, disconnected quickly from the bike. And then the third harness that I'll make is going to be for the CT125, Trail 125. This mount, the yoke, will be the exact same thing for the Trail 125. The dimensions on the back of the Super Cub and the 125 are identical. There's a little bit more reach because of the fender on the Trail 125, but as far as the width and the axle dimensions and all that is identical. So I'll be able to swap this mount over to the Trail 125 when I finish my big trip on the Cub. So I'll build another harness for the CT125 and dig into that project when I return from the trip in late July. Anyway, so that's my long-winded intro to today's vlog, just trying to catch up. I haven't had time to do any other videos, editing, any of that. I have been absolutely hammered with work, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Work is always good, money is great. When you're as busy as I am right now, sitting down to tally the time, write the invoices, and collect the money is the hard part. That's just such a time vampire, but I've been crushing out as much as I can, closing out my service contracts, my retainer stuff that I normally do monthly, and deferring that, or letting everybody know that I just will not be available for July because I'm on the road. I'll be available for remote tech support on the phone, and perhaps in the evenings after we finish the day's ride, if I've got internet access, I'll be able to jump in over a VPN and do remote maintenance and that sort of thing. But as far as break fix and emergency stuff, no, sorry, I'm on vacation. I've got a couple of guys that'll help me with remote hands. If I need somebody to go into a server room somewhere and push a button, then I'll have that. But beyond that, whatever work stacks up, we'll just have to wait until I return. So as far as the video editing goes, I'm hoping to be able to post a couple of these vlogs tonight, tomorrow, and get current as far as you know, where I am in the time stream of my adventures. And then as I'm doing the Super Cub prep, I've already got a couple of videos where I changed the tires on the Cub, my valve maintenance adjustment, and some others that are going to be posted hopefully right before the trip, so everybody can kind of see the prep that leads up to it, you know, T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 days, that sort of thing. And then once the trip starts, the only videos that I'll be able to post will be just short little ones on YouTube and Instagram, and I might be able to do some live streams. So if I can figure out a reliable way to do the live streams, if I've got enough cellular connectivity and bandwidth is sufficient, then I might do that at camp in the evenings, or perhaps along the route some of the days when I'm doing the waypoints, you know, taking the pictures of everything. That might be kind of cool. So unfortunately there won't be a schedule for that sort of thing, so I won't be able to publish hey, you know, this is coming up at, you know, 2 p.m. or whatever. So there won't be much advance notice for those things. I'm just going to drop in, drop out as time and connectivity permits. So if you're interested, be sure and subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified of video releases and announcements and stuff like that. So if I'm able, I'll give a few minutes heads up, you know, maybe 5 or 10 minute warning or something right before I do a quick live stream, and we'll see how it works. And if you're interested in supporting the channel or my trip, I would greatly appreciate it. I love all you subscribers and everybody that participates in my madness. It is a wonderful hobby, and I try to corrupt everyone into my way of thinking if I can. So if you want to support the channel, you know, like, subscribe, thumbs up, that sort of thing. If you feel inclined to support the channel monetarily, you can subscribe on YouTube. I'm opening up the members membership type forum. All right, we can break it up. I need over there anyway. I've also got other donation links for Buy Me a Coffee, Venmo, what else is there? A Cash App. There's a handful. I'll try to throw them up on the screen here. All of the links are in my YouTube About page, or the bio page, and you can make a one-time donation. You could subscribe on Patreon or subscribe on YouTube, and a lot of my behind-the-scenes content for this trip I'll be posting there first for subscribers and patrons only. And then as I have time, when I return from the trip over, you know, a few months span of time, whatever it takes, I'll be editing all the ride videos and publishing those episodes, probably 1 or 2 a week until it's done. So that'll take a while. Ouch, a little tired. Must be what I hit a second ago. Whacked my shin. So anyway, cruise control is working again, but it wasn't off when I started my ride, so I haven't gotten to the bottom of that little issue. It just happens when it wants to, and you can't engage, or you can't turn on the system. I don't mean engage as in set the speed. You can't even get the light to work. You hit the button and it does not come on. So I don't know. There's got to be a firmware bug, but I'll address that when I get back from my trip. What else is going on in Quasi-Land? My Ryker is down. I haven't edited or posted that couple of videos yet describing my woes with that bike, but it developed a new symptom. The right front wheel, the ball joint is definitely blown, or something is bad in the right front suspension, because the wheel does this stuff at high speed. It's not vertical, like out of balance. It's a yaw, so it's shuddering, and that tells me there's slack in the suspension components. So it's either ball joint or bad control arm bushings. Something is blown in there, and I'm not riding it until I get it resolved. We're HOV right now. No. Past the HOV time. So anyway, the Ryker is parked at the warehouse. It's not safe to ride. I'm pissed off at it. It's going to stay that way until I have time to dig into it. I do still have factory warranty on the bike, so I'm going to try to get that case looked at by Can-Am BRP and have them fix it. If they don't or can't or won't or whatever, then I'm just going to buy all the pieces myself and fix that situation, because I'm absolutely sick to death of dealing with it. It pisses me off. It's been bad since day one. Anybody that has watched my videos for a while and goes back to the original ride, you can see that I was fighting that thing since the very beginning, and the alignment was bad right from the dealer showroom. So that tells me that something has been bad on the bike since it was assembled, and it's just gotten worse. This new symptom with the wheel fluttering is also causing problems when I load the right suspension in a corner. So if I take a fast left-hand corner, the bike goes like this. It's not good. So it's not safe to ride like that, because I don't know if it's going to let go and totally cripple the wheel, which would send me caterwauling out into traffic or tumbling or whatever. So not a good situation. So if I have to buy all the pieces, then I'm going to buy it all. I'm going to get upper and lower control arms for both left and right. I'm going to get ball joints. I'm going to get thrust bushings, control arm bushings, frame bushings, whatever else is on the part sheet. I'm just buying everything. I'll tear it apart, I'll rebuild it myself, make sure that it's put together and torqued down properly, and then I'll take it up to James at Thornholey's and have him do another laser alignment on it and see what happens from there. And of course, in either case, whether it's warranty or whether I do it, we're going to pull those ball joints apart and look at the control arms. I'll put a set of calipers on there, some micrometers, run out gauges, whatever it takes to verify what has gone sideways with those parts, because I think that would be useful for anybody else that's having this problem with their Ryker. I know that Kevin, Bikes and Pizza on Instagram, he had a identical issue, or a very similar issue with his Ryker 900 a few months back, where it was the ball joint, the housing was squared out inside. So whether that was a factory defect or a wear item, we don't know. But his front wheel was doing this wobbling, hopping around bit, and he apparently had to go back to the dealer and fight with Can-Am warranty a few times, and they finally covered it all under warranty, so that's good. I suspect that my bike has the same issue. I can't remember what else I was going to talk about today. It's a whole lot of talking already, but I had a couple of points about pending projects and trip plans that I can't remember. I've had quite a few people asking me how this little Daytona Aero Visor does on the highway, if it helps with stability or bike feel, highway speeds. It definitely reduces the chest pressure, but I wouldn't say that the Rebel is actually comfortable to ride at highway speeds for long periods, because it's just no wind protection to speak of, and this little screen doesn't do much except to break up chest pressure. It doesn't give any upper protection at all. But right here in my core, you can't see where I'm pointing, but basically at my sternum, that's right where the cutoff of this airflow is. So it's reducing my core pressure, pushing me off of the bike, so that's a good thing. Beyond that, it's not much of a screen. Okay then, arrived at my office. I'm going to do a couple of quick little things here, and then on the road to the client site. Okay, back on the road. Whew, feels good to get moving, and I am not waiting. It's hot. It's going to be much hotter this afternoon. I still haven't had time to do my 0 to 60 tests and performance and roll-ons and all those with the Dragy GPS. I need to do that sometime soon. Probably just unmount it, because I got the Scotch lock to put it on there now. Hey, dude. I got the Scotch lock to mount it properly, so I'll pull that off there. I need to take it inside and charge it. It hasn't been charged in, what, 6 weeks or whenever it was I put that on there. And there's no power button on these Dragy GPSs. I guess they just run in low power mode until they hear a connection request, and then they turn on. Every time I've turned on the app on my phone, it just bloop, lights right up. So I don't know what the battery life or longevity is on these things. It's apparently pretty good. Teslas. Lots of Teslas. See, that bump right there would have sent me out of the saddle previously. I knew that guy was going to come all the way over without it. Yeah, that bump that I just went through back there, that dip, would have launched me right out of the seat before I adjusted the rear shocks, because they were bottoming out so violently over a lot of these bumps. It was just not a safe situation at all. LifeOfBurch gave me a shout out on his channel. Thank you, sir. You are now a bigger YouTuber than I am. Congratulations, man. I think you're up to 13,000 subs. Good stuff, dude. Congrats. I haven't been putting a lot of time into my channel lately because I've just been so busy with work and these trip plans, but we'll see how the subscriber count goes with my Super Cub trip around the country. It should be fun. See how many people are interested in that psychotic trip. When I get back in the fall, I'm planning on doing a couple of more road trips. I'm probably going to road trip this one back up to the up in the Appalachian area. I don't know if I'm going to do the Parkway, the Blue Ridge up there, or if I'm going to do part of the Natchez Trace, but I'll do something up there. I'm going to tour that part of the country. I haven't been out there in a long time. Come on, dude. You go. You go. You go. Get there. So once I have the saddlebags for this thing and I can throw some gear on the back, I will definitely be road tripping it and moto camping. Then my little CT125 I have put back together, and everything is pretty much 100% on it. What I need to do yet is change the front sprocket to give me a little better highway capability so I can get to the trailheads and the off-road areas that I want to ride. Because right now with the factory gearing, it is sorely limited on highway capabilities. It can only do, 50 to 55 miles an hour at best. And all the rural highways here in Texas have pretty much gone to 75 miles an hour, so that's a problem. And you've got traffic that's usually doing at least 10 above that. And you've got people barreling up on you at 85 miles an hour and you're only doing 50. It's a little dicey. But yeah, I want to take the little Trail 125 out for some moto camping this fall. I'll see how the Ryker project goes after I do the suspension rebuild, and I'd like to get it back out and road trip it, but until that's resolved, I'm not riding it. Oh, go while it's green, people. It's not going to be green forever, but it will be red for a hell of a long time. Oh, just made it. Let's see if it'll open for this bike. It won't open for my scooters. This one's got enough girth to it. Yeah, it won't open for my smaller bikes. I've come here a couple of times on the Super Cub and scooters, and it just won't open. Getting out's even more of a trick because the sensor over there is even less sensitive. Okay then. I have arrived. It is time to work, make some money to finance my toys and my trips. And I'm hoping, really hoping, that today is my last work day, as I mentioned on my way out of the house. I've got to spend some time doing some prep. I'm not going to be overthinking and over prepping the ride up. because I want to enjoy the ride and I don't want to put too many deadlines on it, other than I need to make a certain number of miles a day. That's it. But my route up to Maine is still just kind of up in the air. So I need to reply back to a few people that have asked me what my itinerary is, what my path and plan is. We're just going to have a rough route and rough timings. Not going to be any hard, fast schedule for that. So I'll relay that to everybody that's been asking, and hopefully we can hook up along the way and share some notes and have a fun ride. So anyway, I'll catch you guys later this afternoon. Okay, it's end of the day and I'm headed out. It's about 4:30 right now, 4:22. And it is 95 degrees and humid in Houston. Ugh. Even here in the garage, man, it is thick. So now I get to go out and play in rush hour traffic. It's gonna suck. This section of 610 loop over here is always horribly clogged up, leading over to I-10 interchange. But it's okay. I'll make it work. So, I was just checking emails right before I sat down on the bike, and I saw a delivery notice saying that my KipMoto delivery was dropped off at the house. So, maybe we are going to be lucky and I'll have that trailer to install and play with this weekend. We'll see. I hope that he was able to put both hitch kits in that shipment. It was one complete trailer and hitch, and then a second hitch for my existing trailer. So, don't know, I didn't see any notes in the shipment about that being in there, so I'm really hoping we got both hitches. We're gonna find out. I'm not sure what Adrian's timing is gonna be for this weekend, because I know he's leaving town Monday. I think it's Monday. So it'll be a little tight on timing, I'm sure. I might just have him leave his bike with me and I'll work on it for him. I don't care. I should hopefully have plenty of spare time over the next week or two. I wasn't able to totally wrap up all my work for this client today, but getting close. He's a nice guy. He let me in. The Rebel does pretty good on this groove pavement, but I do notice the tires kind of snaking and squirming a bit over the grooves, more so than my other bikes do. So it's got to be something about the tread pattern on these tires. The Michelin pilots that I have on my other bikes, I don't notice any squirm, none, zero, zilch. Go. Ooh, look at that river of steel down there. Glad I'm not in that lane. Yeah, so circling back to my observations or comments on my morning commute about the little Daytona Aero Visor. Yeah, it really does help at highway speeds. Like right now, I would just be miserable without that little deflector on there. 70, 75 miles an hour on the highway. Feels like you're just about to get launched off of the bike backwards. It's called the air resistance, but it's doing a decent job. If it were 3 inches, 4 inches taller, I think it would be ideal. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for dark fly screens. Hopefully they're going to have a Marlin fitment for this. I really like the look of that screen, and it's a little taller. I reached out to them by email a few weeks ago, and they said that they don't have the bike over in the UK right now at their disposal to do the prototyping. So I know that it's becoming available over there. Mr. Fish, Chronicles of Mr. Fish, did a first ride impressions on the bike recently, so I know there are a few over there. So hopefully Dart can get their hands on one of them. So we'll see. Yeah, like right over that seam, I can feel the front wheel going. The Michelin pilots don't have that tendency, at least not on any of the fitments that I have. 17-inch tires on the standard bikes, the sport bikes. This one being a larger diameter, I don't know, maybe it's more prone to that, but I think it's probably just a function of the tread pattern. And this is why I commute by motorcycle whenever I possibly can. I don't have to deal with that crap. Well, I do, but sitting in it. I get to take the HOV for free over here instead of paying $5 or $6 per toll station, or I don't know how it works out. I think during peak hours, this is up to like $8 or $9 to travel the stretch out to Katy. It's crazy expensive. Imagine doing that twice a day in a car, paying $16, $18 in tolls just to avoid that mess out here. On a bike, you get to do it for free. Well, technically in a car you get to do it for free if you're HOV. More than 2 people in the car. That's not the American way. Everybody goes everywhere solo in this country. Usually in a giant 6,000-pound metal box, all by themselves. Oh, look at that, just particles. Yuck. River of steel on both sides. Oh yeah, so the other thing I was mentioning this morning on my commute in, and I think I got derailed in my thought. LifeOfBurch put out a video on adjusting the Rebel's rear suspension, and he gave me a shout out in the video and in the video description, so thank you, sir. He just did a quick adjustment. He had already cranked his up to, I think he said number 6, and he thought that was a little bit stiff for him, so he backed it down to 5. And he weighs a little less than I do. He mentioned that he's around 150 pounds, so I'm about 20 pounds up on him, and I think 7 suits me pretty well. So I was replying to comments early this morning. One of them was, does anybody have a chart or are there specifications on how many clicks per rider weight and for passenger and that sort of thing? And I just kind of put together some quick figures and ideas based on what I figured out so far. And I'm guessing with a passenger, probably going to have to crank up that rear preload to the max, probably somewhere between 15 and 18 clicks. That's the other bit, is we don't have the official spec. It may be listed in the service manual. A couple of owners have said they got the service manual and it says that there are 18 clicks in the rear shocks. So I was cranking mine, I got it up to 20 on video, but I may have been just spinning the same position on those last 2 clicks. I don't know. So we'll figure that out. But at any rate, I think if the max is 18, then some of the heavier riders out there are saying, you know, they're 220, 240, 250. They're saying that they're already up to like number 15 on the preload. So that means if you're running 2 up on this with a passenger, you're probably going to have to max out that preload. And that's where the zip tie test comes in handy. I didn't really state the finer points of it in the videos that I did, but the zip tie test is just a gauge to let you know how much of your suspension stroke you're using. You want to be able to use all your stroke. You don't want it to be bottoming out unnecessarily. So if you're cranking up your preload so high that you're not using all of your suspension throw, then you're just making the ride overly harsh, and it becomes kind of a pogo stick, because you're, with these shocks anyway, you're fighting the dampers built-in resistance to compression or rebound damping. These don't have that much damping in them, so you don't want it to be overly stiff if you don't need it to be. So anyway, long story short, you want to be using your full suspension stroke under normal riding conditions, you know, average bumps and highway dips and stuff like that. You want to get full compression out of it. But you don't want it to be bottoming out and just burying that zip tie way into the bump rubber, because that means you really, you know, you're exercising the bump stop a lot more than you should be. And that's where you get that sudden jolt that can upset the balance of the bike or your steering or whatever. So anyway, just use that as a rough test, and you want to be using all of your suspension stroke as much as possible without bottoming out unnecessarily. So if you were to go 2 up on this, you'd probably want to throw a zip tie on there and ride it around the block before you take off on a big trip. The adjustments before you ride 2 up or with a bunch of luggage would be good to know before you set out on a long trip, because it always sucks to have to stop and adjust and adjust and adjust. The good thing about the zip ties is you can just keep resetting them and, you know, tweak it a little bit, test again. Give them a wave, say thanks for letting me in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See right there, that was a really bad bump that would have bottomed out the suspension before, but it didn't. It absorbed it too well. I will still probably upgrade these shocks to Olin's or Burley, or there are a couple of other cruiser shock manufacturers out there. So this bike really needs adjustable damping, or just better damping than what these factory shocks offer. They're not very well damped, in my opinion. As soon as you stop. I think we're going to have a very hot summer this year, which doesn't bode well for my 9,000 mile plus trip around the country in a couple of weeks. We'll see how it goes. Somebody's smoking weed in front of me. The other thing I might eventually upgrade on this bike is the front line. I'm not sure if it's the line of the master cylinder, but it's not a very tactile brake lever. The brakes work very well, especially when you really get into them. When you squeeze the hell out of it, it'll stop the bike in nothing flat. There's no problem with stopping power. So I don't think it's a function of the caliper or the brake rotor diameter or anything like that. It's just a squishy lever. So I'm going to put a stainless braided line on this thing, and I'll probably upgrade to a different lever. This one's adjustable, but I don't know. I might leave that one on there and just adjust it better. Once there's less play, I think there'll be a better feel in that front brake. It's just kind of wooden feeling. Most magazine reviewers would call that, you know, wooden block feeling. You got wooden blocks for brake pads. They work, but not the greatest feel. I'll probably put a set of EBC double H up front or something like that. The only problem with those double H's is they're very noisy, and they do chew up your rotors faster than these other centered metallic pads. The double H's are centered copper bronze. They're great for heat dissipation, and they stop like crazy, but they are a little tough on rotors. So when I get back into these projects for the Rebel, I will probably do the rear shocks. I might do front cartridges at the same time, a steering damper to handle the light front end, and then well, I guess that's it as far as performance upgrades anyway. Oh yeah, well, the front brake, stainless braided line, and maybe some pads. Other than that, the bike does really well. It's lots of fun to play with. It's got good power, good torque. Oh yeah, the other thing I might do is a flash tune to remove the speed nanny up top and maybe eke a few more horsepower out of it with a free flow intake in conjunction with this exhaust. Might be able to squeeze a couple more ponies out of it. But I'll make sure I do that on a dyno to get proper tuning on it, make sure it's not running too lean or anything. That one got me out of the saddle, but it didn't bottom out. There was no thud, I just got bounced. It was fun. Yeah, I finally figured out what it is just now about this front brake that I don't like. It's not just the squishy feel, it's the long travel before it really starts to engage. So that's why I was thinking of getting a different brake lever, one that's got an adjustable rod on it. I forget what they call it, but that adjustable engagement point as well as an adjustable lever position. If I wanted to go hog wild, I could replace this master cylinder with a adjustable radial cylinder, but no, don't need to go that far, I don't think. Okay, well, home again, and I think I will probably head out today and do a evening ride as the temperatures cool off a little bit. So anyway, thanks you all for tagging along, and I'll catch you on the next ride.